What up? Let's talk about the team across the border, the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors are rebuilding the right way, in my mind. They acquired a bunch of young players that were already in the NBA through trades, such as Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, Davion Mitchell. So, without having to get more draft capital, they were able to rebuild their team via players that were already in the league, which I honestly think is a very underutilized methodology when it comes to rebuilding. Because a lot of teams give up on players way too early. A lot of times young players are just on the wrong situation, and if they had gotten drafted by a different team coming into the league, maybe things would pan out differently from them. A lot of players making a name for themselves in the NBA is about getting the opportunity and capitalizing on it. And it can be easy to fumble an opportunity here or there, but if you're not even getting those opportunities, it's going to be very hard to succeed and show the rest of the league what your value is. But besides those players that they acquired through trade, I'm personally a big fan of Scottie Barnes. I think Scottie Barnes is an amazing player, and I think he doesn't really get as much, he doesn't get as much praise as he should, just because he hasn't really been on like a great Raptors team yet. But I think Scottie Barnes can be a player on the Raptors for years to come when they're eventually back in a winning position and making the playoffs consistently. I think Masai Ujiri is one of the smartest executives in the league, and if you just give him time, he will figure out how to make it work. And I think that's the thing, is the NBA, amongst its fans and its, executives in front offices and even players to some extent, people just aren't patient. And I think patience is extremely important, because you might make the wrong move, by trading a guy, 1 year before he's really going to hit his stride. You never know. And if you just maintain faith in players and your coaching staff, I feel like that's really what you need to be successful. And obviously there's going to be glaring issues here and there with players and coaches and whatever other staff members on your team. But you have to just come up with a plan and a culture and stick by those principles that you develop, and you'll probably come out, doing a lot better that way if you also just maintain patience through that methodology. But I personally think, as far as the trades they made this season, I think they won the OG Anunoby trade. Traded OG to the Knicks and got back Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett. I think maybe there was also some picks that got swapped, but that was the core of the deal, was OG Anunoby for Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett. I think RJ Barrett's very good. I think Knicks fans were pretty harsh on him, but I think when certain players get back to their hometown environment, with RJ Barrett being from Canada, I feel like it's just a good thing for them, and I think he's gonna continue to improve. He's only 24. And he's under contract until the end of 2027. Emmanuel Quickley is one of my favorite players in the league too. Him and Tyrese Maxey play very similarly, in my opinion. And I think they can, I think Quickley can be just as good as Tyrese Maxey. I have a lot of faith in his potential. He's also under contract until the end of 2028. So that's great for the Raptors. He's also only 25 years old. You got Bruce Brown there. He's a vet, won a championship, so that's a good presence. Kelly Olynyk, another good vet. You got Garrett Temple, also a good vet. He's old now, wow, 38. I remember when he was on the Wizards. Garrett Temple, though, good vet. He's been in the league a long time, played in a lot of different situations. Still got Chris Boucher on the roster. Yeah, I like Davion Mitchell's game a lot too. I think he's just like a gritty point guard, locks the opposing point guard down, just like really clamps down on defense, does what he has to do, gets good steals, deflections, all that. I think Grady's good too, but like Grady didn't really have like the best rookie year. He had a couple good flashes, but he has to be like a really good shooter. Like if he could turn into like a Kyle Korver type of guy and like really play well off the ball, like getting off screens and getting open like that and just capitalizing on those opportunities, I think he could be really good for the Raptors. But Scottie Barnes, I think is going to be like a 20-10 guy in his career. Like I honestly think he's going to start averaging double-digit rebounds and just pulling them down. He can bring the ball up the court. He plays kind of funny, honestly. Like I feel like his style is like a little goofy, but excuse me. But it works, As long as your play style works. Like it's the same thing with like shot mechanics. Like if your shot looks super ugly and it goes in a lot, it's probably fine. You probably don't have to fix it. And with Scottie Barnes, I'm like, his play style is very unique and it, looks a certain way when you watch him on film, but it works. And I think he's going to still continue to get better. He's not that old. So he's gonna be really good. As their coach Darko said, Scottie Barnes is all-star in league. So Darko's right. He's definitely right. If you guys haven't seen that rant by the Raptors head coach about the Lakers shooting 23 free throws in the fourth quarter of a game, you should go watch it. It's a classic. It's an absolute classic. Coach just fired up, standing up for his guys. I respect it. So when you have a good team from the coach to the players, you have a young core, good vets, they have all the fundamentals in place to start really developing their team for the future. And they're probably not going to be super good next year, So that's another high draft pick for you. Maybe even the year after that, they're, not that great. Another high draft pick. But I think this team is like, probably two seasons away from really like getting back into the playoff conversation and starting to make things happen again. And I think they do that by building around Scottie Barnes and then, hopefully picking high in next year's draft. And, hopefully that also turns out to be a star player for them. But this is a good rebuild strategy, because you can only depend on the draft so much where you really don't know who's going to pan out. Once you've seen someone play in NBA situations and play, a full NBA season, you have a little bit of a better idea. Like, okay, what isn't working for this guy on this level? What is working for him? What are his strengths, his weaknesses? And once you see that, it's not about figuring out, will this skill translate to what we're trying to do here? Like, it's a lot easier once you've seen him play in the NBA. So it's a risky but safe strategy. And, I think the Raptors also understand that you want to avoid, being in mediocrity or basketball purgatory, as it's been called before. But, who's texting me, man? People always texting my phone when I'm recording, and it's crazy. Not sure if you guys heard the ping. But, yeah, the Raptors they're going to be good. They got to just put it together a little bit more, but it's going to get there. And I feel like they have a great fan base, too. Like, Raptors fans are not just from, Toronto. I feel like a lot of Canada is rooting for the Raptors because they really are, quite literally the only NBA team in Canada. So, Grizzlies aren't in Vancouver anymore. So it's all about the Raptors. All about the Raptors, baby. So I'm going to be watching. I like the Raptors. It's going to be a good, next couple of seasons for them if they can work things out this year and next year. The seasons after that are going to be good.